Namaskaram and a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now Live. I'm Pratibha. We are joining you from the high-stakes constituency of Wayanad. The Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is the MP from this constituency. Prime Minister Modi today said, like Rahul Gandhi fled from Amethi, he is going to be fleeing from Wayanad as well. As you're seeing the location around me, extremely beautiful and tranquil and peaceful. But as peaceful as the location is, that's how bitter the political battle is that's playing out in Wayanad. Is it going to be a tough battle for the Congress leader or not? That's going to be today's debate. Why did the Prime Minister say that Rahul will soon be fleeing from the Wayanad constituency? But before that, as always, we also bring you an element of understanding the local culture of Wayanad. Tribes from the constituency account to about 10%, and more importantly, they have been the indigenous inhabitants of the area. Very important to mention, a very, very special indigenous dance performance that we put together for you. It's very special. Take a look at this. That's intrinsic to Wayanad. It's a traditional dance form from Wayanad, from the indigenous people from here. Every show we try to bring you an element which shows the local culture of the constituency. But while talking about the big battle here, let's speak about what Prime Minister Modi has said. Wayanad is a constituency where Rahul Gandhi contested from in 2019. It was a big victory for him. Back then, the Prime Minister had taken a dig at Rahul Gandhi, saying he had to flee Amethi. This time around, ahead of the elections, the Prime Minister saying he had to flee from the family bastion of Amethi. This time around, he will also be forced to flee from Wayanad. Take a look at the Prime Minister's big attack on Rahul Gandhi.
कांग्रेस के जो शाहजादे हैं, उन्हें भी वायनाड में संकट दिख रहा है। शाहजादे और उनकी टोली 26 अप्रैल को वायनाड में वोटिंग का इंतजार कर रही है। जैसे ही 26 को वायनाड में वोटिंग पूरा हो जाएगा, ये शाहजादे के लिए एक और सुरक्षित सीट घोषित कर देंगे और कहीं और से फिर से लड़ाना पड़ेगा उनको, क्योंकि उनके अलायंस के साथी भी एक दूसरे को गालियां दे रहे हैं। कल आपने उनके एक साथी केरल के मुख्यमंत्री ने जो शाहजादे को सुनाई है, मैं भी कभी ऐसी भाषा नहीं बोलता, वो ऐसी भाषा बोली है उन्होंने साथी को। ये हाल है उनका। अब जैसे इन्होंने अमेठी से भागना पड़ा, अमेठी छोड़ा, अब मान के चलिए वो वायनाड भी छोड़ेंगे।
So that was the Prime Minister's big attack. He said that like Rahul Gandhi was forced to flee from Amethi, he will also be forced to flee from the safe seat of Wayanad, saying after the elections in Wayanad very soon, the Shehzada of the Congress party will be getting another safe seat to contest from. So is the heat increasing on the Congress leader? That's the big question. We're going to be talking about what the situation is on ground. How is it for the Congress party, especially since this time around the left versus the Congress battle is heating up. The BJP has been saying that they have an understanding. The Congress party, though, says that it's a big battle that continues to play out. We have guests joining us this evening with expertise on matter from Kerala. We have Shri Padmanabhan, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. We have Mithun Vijay Kumar, political analyst, joining us on the broadcast, and we have Raju P. Nair, spokesperson of the Kerala Congress, and Srijit Shivraman, political analyst, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you all for joining us. First, to understand what the Prime Minister has said, I want to ask Sir Raju Nair what he thought of what the Prime Minister has said. He said Rahul Gandhi was forced to flee from Amethi, which was once considered a safe seat for him. Now, Wayanad will also no longer be a safe seat.
That is because he does not have any idea about Wayanad. Narendra Modi does not have any idea of secularism, Kerala or Wayanad in particular. So definitely he can have some loose talks. A prime minister who's supposed to, he was a prime minister for 10 years, who's supposed to say people's problem and how they worked on the for the solutions in the last 10 years, have forgotten that politics. He is trying to polarize the voters because the fear that they are going to lose this election, because almost all the surveys has shown that the BJP is losing ground. I'm someone who traveled with Rahul Gandhi in the Bharat Jodo Yatra from Manipur to Mumbai, and we could sense the ground that they are ready for a change. The core issue of this election is economic injustice and the social injustice. But isn't that the same
hope that the Congress party had previously in 2019 elections as well? You're saying you've gained ground over the last 5 years.
See, Congress has gained ground, and that is mainly because of the anti-people policies of Narendra Modi. The question of this election is the economic injustice meted out to the youth of the people, to the women of this society. Entire country is actually starving, and there are no opportunities for the youth. Now the question is whether this government has provided that economic justice to the people, and they have utterly failed. And the social injustice, the Dalits, Adivasis, all sections of societies have been sidelined, and only one idea has to be, Narendra Modi wants to implement only one idea in this country. The social injustice starts from there. So it is like a second independence struggle, where in the first independence struggle, the economic justice and the social justice were the prime agenda for the Indian national movement. And same movement is happening after 10 years. 10 years is not a big time. You know, the UPA had ruled India for 2004 and 2009. At that time, BJP was in the opposition. Now, 2 terms, Congress was in opposition. What is the big issue about 2 years, 2 terms of election? So, I think, Narendra Modi has lost the ground, and they want to convert this election agenda to a communal polarization or this two May election.
You're saying it's an attempt to polarize. But the BJP has also spoken about the fact that in Wayanad, Rahul Gandhi seems to be missing. He has not campaigned much because he knows that here he could be losing. Apart from that, the BJP has also spoken about the fact that the Congress flag seemed to be missing from Rahul Gandhi's rally. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that because I also want to hear a BJP response to that. Is it out of nervousness, like he said, that the BJP is saying that Rahul Gandhi is going to lose ground here, or because the Congress party has also been saying that 400 par is a narrative that the BJP is talking of because they know they're not going to have the numbers this time around?
See, gone are the days when people could be taken for granted. People, when they vote, they expect big things. Especially when they vote for a VVIP person as their MP, they expect big things. What happened in Amethi and Raebareli? They voted for VVIPs. And what did they get? Amethi got a medical college this time. Raebareli got an All India Institute of Medical Science this time. So Amethi got nothing, Raebareli got nothing. People were fooled. So they had to run from Amethi. Sonia Gandhi has gone to Rajya Sabha, Rahul Gandhi has come to Wayanad. Now what about Wayanad? 5 years, Rahul Gandhi had been an MP from here. See, look at his performance. His average in the parliament is 51%, while the national average of other MPs combined together is 79%. Not a single private bill he has piloted in the parliament. And then his issues, he has raised 8 issues, and among them one about Wayanad. Then there is a DISHA, a district level a supervisory committee for development works. The committee meets 4 times in a year. And so that is almost 20 now, or 16. He has attended only 4 meetings. And in not from Wayanad, from Calicut meeting and Malappuram meeting also he is supposed to attend, because his constituency comes from 3 districts. He has never attended the Disha meeting of Calicut and Malappuram. What has happened, some positive things which has happened in Wayanad is due to aspirational district program, wherein the central government has selected 115 districts as aspirational districts, backward districts. So Wayanad has got some programs and projects under that district. So that is the only positive thing which has happened here. So what happened in Amethi for 40 years is repeating in Wayanad, and the people of Wayanad are no more going to be fooled. This time it will be a crushing defeat for Rahul Gandhi, which he had to face in Amethi in 2009.
Okay. In fact, many believe that the Congress and the left had a tacit understanding in the 2019 election. So I want to ask Srijit, this time around the left has put up very, very strong candidates across Kerala. So are you saying that it's going to be very tough for the Congress party? What is the sense on ground?
Of course, this is going to be the toughest battle for Congress. For the last 5 years, what we have seen in Kerala is that the people have elected 18 members for the UDF. But their performance in the Indian Parliament was abysmal. For the last 5 years, you can see that there were many struggles by the people of this country against CAA, against Farmers' Bill in Manipur. So all these struggles, not even a single MP from Kerala participated. Their performance in the parliament, as the previous speaker said, were abysmal. I can only use that word. Rahul Gandhi visited this constituency only 20 times. You see, he visited the foreign countries 247 times meanwhile. So what kind of an MP we are expecting? Okay, leave it alone. The other question is, has he been an opposition leader fighting against the BJP and their, kind of authoritarian rule for the last 5 years? In that also, his performance was not up to the mark. It was really disappointing for the people of Wayanad. So we are putting the bravest fighter of the left in India, Ani Raja, here. She has been there in all these fights against CAA, against Farmers' Bill. She was, she had a UAPA case in Manipur. So this fighter is going to win the hearts of Wayanad.
Okay, all right. So left has a good chance. In this battle between the two heavyweights, is the BJP going to take advantage? Is it going to be advantage BJP? Mithun Vijay Kumar, what is the sense that you're seeing on ground? Many say that Rahul Gandhi has not visited. Very interesting that he says that he visited foreign countries more than he visited his own constituency. The left has also fielded a very, very strong candidate from here. In this battle between the left and the Congress, is it going to be advantage BJP from the constituency?
See, first of all, on ground, right here, what I see is, the left is speaking against the Congress, and that's a very funny thing to see, because outside Kerala, if you see, the left is actually joining the rallies of Congress, holding their flags. But here in Kerala, the situation is different. They are speaking against each other. They are part of one alliance. And it's surprising that Ani Raja is contesting against their prime ministerial candidate. So are they trying to fool the people of this constituency? Because they are part of the same alliance. They are speaking against each other. How could they be part of the same alliance and then, have these kind of conflicting views about each other? And many of the points have already been mentioned by Sri Padmanabhan. But I would still like to ask, like Mr. Sri Padmanabhan mentioned, the District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee, it's supposed to hold its meeting at least 4 times a year. But Rahul Gandhi has attended only a few. Why is that? Because why is this stepmotherly treatment to the people of Wayanad? Now you see the veterinary college, it's only a few meters from here, not even kilometers. As an MP, he is supposed to attend the board meetings a few times a year, but he has hardly visited the college. Why is so? And then he claims that, he's going to win the elections in Wayanad. While I was coming to Wayanad, I saw the posters of Rahul Gandhi hugging and, embracing people. But is that only the gimmicks that he's doing?
In fact, while you mentioned the posters, I just want to say we've crisscrossed across Kerala, and in the other constituencies, the posters of Rahul Gandhi are completely missing. The candidates are only putting up their own pictures. Is it that the Congress leaders don't have belief in Rahul Gandhi? This is a state where Rahul Gandhi is contesting from. Do you see that even now there's not acceptance even within the Kerala Congress? This is a state where the Congress party performed exceptionally well in 2019.
I think before asking that question, you should study what Kerala is.
I have gone across Kerala. I tell you, we have seen posters. If you don't want to take my word, we'll also play out these reports. The candidates, Shashi Tharoor, Pathanamthitta, we are seeing the candidates' posters. We don't see Rahul Gandhi's posters.
Let me tell you, in Kerala, right from you go back to the early years, the election is fought on the candidate's image, and only candidate's image will be there in the
But the
posters.
BJP has the Prime Minister's posters.
They can't do anything. We don't decide our strategy depending on the BJP's posters.
Okay.
This is our strategy. Our strategy is to concentrate on the candidate. And everywhere. Do you think Sonia Gandhi is not acceptable to us?
Okay.
Do you think Kharge ji is not acceptable to us? What question are you asking?
Okay.
Every constituency, we are projecting only the candidate. Understood? We have a political campaign running that is different. So there is no point in raising such a thing. Now, Rahul Gandhi's performance in Wayanad. See, he is an MP who has given administrative sanction to 123.4%. Not just his 17 crores MP fund, but M.I. Shanawaz fund, the interest and other carryover fund, 123.4%. He has given administrative sanction for the MP lads. He has given 248 crores allotment for Nanjangod rail line. Now, there is 148, no, let me tell 148 CRIF roads, Central Road Infrastructure Fund. He has given 148 crores out of 60 projects. PMJSY. None of the people in the Wayanad misses him. He is a national leader. He has been my colleague in the
if
left.
If he's a national leader, I want to ask, if he's a national leader, why does he not have acceptance even with the left? The left is saying, don't contest in Wayanad, don't contest in Kerala.
That you can read in two ways. One, it is a strategy because we are fighting against each other because we don't give space to BJP. If we fight
in
together,
this fight between left and the Congress, will it be advantage BJP?
Fight is no. Fight between Congress and CPM, UDF and LDF left no space for BJP. That is one strategy. If we become together, fight together, then BJP will be become the principal opposition party. We don't want that to happen. We will push.
Lok Sabha elections.
We will push BJP to the third position in every constituency, and our effort is to bring down their vote share to 10%, to pick them out of Kerala. Not even give a space to sit. That is our policy. That we and CPM are together. There is no doubt about it. Now, the second thing
I want to ask, the left says that Rahul Gandhi should not contest from here. You're saying that it's an understanding that we have. Maybe you're not able to see it. I want to ask you, Rahul Gandhi, no, it could be an understanding or we would rather not cede space to the BJP. I want to ask, Rahul Gandhi yesterday says that the left and the BJP have an understanding. So where does the Congress come in there?
Definitely it is there. I will tell you one thing.
The left has a understanding with Congress and BJP there.
Left and UDF are fighting this battle fiercely. There is an ideological fight also. We are fighting fiercely. Now I will tell you 2-3 examples. Now the adjacent Lok Sabha seat, Vadagara, BJP has hardly 9% vote there. Now the BJP state president is making a statement that Shafi Parambil will not win from Vadagara. How is BJP sure that Shafi Parambil will not win from Vadagara, where BJP has only 9% votes? Now, E.P. Jayarajan, the LDF convener...
So what are you hinting at?
No, that means that there is an understanding between CPM and BJP. Now, let me tell you, the LDF convener E.P. Jayarajan, he is saying that Trivandrum candidate is a very good candidate, BJP's candidate. Now, we went back to the records and E.P. Jayarajan and Rajiv Chandrasekhar are business partners. They are business partners. They are business partners. No. They are business partners.
Okay, so the Congress believes that the left and the BJP has an understanding.
Giving space to BJP, saying that the fight is between Congress and CPM and BJP, when BJP is nowhere in the picture. They are just fighting the elections because they are contributing.
So who has an understanding with whom?
BJP is contributing to the economy by giving the deposit to the
very,
government.
very interesting. You're saying that the Congress firmly believes that the left has an understanding with the BJP, but it means that the left and the Congress party are still battling it out. It could still be advantage BJP, at least in the constituencies where the BJP has performed well in 2019. A lot more to discuss. Very quickly, we're slipping into a quick break here. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. Fiery debate on what the situation is like in Kerala. One of the most contested seats is going to be, of course, Wayanad. But apart from that, Kerala, extremely interesting. In 2019, the Congress-led UDF had about 19 seats out of 20. This time around, is it going to be different? Is Kerala going to be the gateway? This time around, will the BJP have a gateway into the southernmost state? Is the big question. Quick break. We'll be right back. from Trishur constituency, one of the key constituencies for the BJP. The Prime Minister has visited this constituency twice. So it's a constituency that the BJP believes will be one of the constituencies that the party will be able to win in Kerala. In this battle between the Congress versus the left versus the BJP, how is the battle in Trishur is the big question. In Trishur in particular, it's a constituency that is very, very unpredictable. Over the last several elections, the electorate has never voted back the same MP twice. The current MP from the constituency is from the Congress party, and the 7 assembly constituencies all have been won by the left. So that tells you a lot that you need to know about the electorate. The BJP's candidate, very, very interesting, is the star from Kerala, Suresh Gopi. Previously, in the 2019 elections, he won over 2,94,000 votes. This time around, can he increase it further and ensure a victory for the BJP? We are joining you from Trishur constituency. It is the top priority for the BJP. The star candidate from the constituency is Suresh Gopi. We are joining him early in the morning on his campaign trail. People all across, as you can see, waiting to wave to him as he goes on his campaign trail. Thank you so much for joining us and sparing time. How is the campaign going? The Prime Minister himself has visited here twice, which shows the focus that the BJP is putting here. What is the ground situation looking like for you?
It's very favorable. It is sounding very fragrant and flowery. So I think we'll make it this time, or rather Kerala will make it to the center powerfully well this time.
Okay. In fact, previously as well, you won over 2,94,000 votes here. This time around, are you confident that you are the one who is going to ensure the gateway to the southernmost state for the BJP?
Not at all looking at the numbers. It is a certain target that we have set for the people of my state. If they let us win, they are going to win. We'll make sure that all the benefits of a success attributed to my party or me or many other contestants from the NDA and BJP, it will all be translated and transacted into violent benefits of the people of Kerala. Whatever they have not benefited through at least 10 years of Modi governance, excellent governance, we will see that all that will touch their lives very soon and in heaviness.
Okay. You are somebody who does not have to rely as much on Prime Minister Modi's charisma. Your own charisma across the state is well known. We can see across the posters as people are crossing by as well as they wait to just look at you. How much of it are you banking on the BJP? Do you believe that BJP finds it difficult to get acceptability among people, or is
No, not at all. See, the charisma of Narendra Modi ji is worldwide. He is universally accepted. His governance has been accepted. So the people of India cannot keep aside Malayalis or Telugus or Tamilians. They have to join the fray and they have to be part of the beneficial lot. So I think once they have their representatives in the treasury benches of both the houses, then I think we'll see very effectively development touching the lives of the people of Kerala.
And, there were reports that initially you were not very keen to contest this time around. Did Prime Minister Modi himself try to convince you? What is your personal equation with the Prime Minister? Because he also came to your daughter's wedding, so you have a very personal equation with the Prime Minister.
Yeah, that is totally different. Marriage is out of this political box. See, I was not reluctant this time or the first time. First time because I was a proxy. And I had only 14 to 16 days left. That was a bottleneck for my accessing into the voting community. I was only an actor then. They did not see me as a politician, even though I was. But this time it's totally different. And the assembly elections I did not want to actually. But it was pressure from the party. I did succumb to those pressure. I was loyal to the party's decision. That's all. But this time, I'm doing it. I need to make it. I need to make it purely and strictly for only the positive, flowery benefits of my state, the people of my state, the citizens of India, Malayali citizens of India.
Your philanthropy is also well known. You've also adopted a village here, but I also want to talk about your foray into BJP.
2 villages.
2 villages. In fact, you entered BJP at a time when BJP didn't have a standing here. You were a really big star. For you to take that step initially when you joined the BJP, you were seen as a pan Kerala. Of course, your stardom is very well known. You deciding to go to the BJP, did you have second thoughts about it? How did that happen? Because that was a time when the BJP was not doing well.
When I decided on BJP, it was a long period of askings and saying no to politics. But then when I decided on BJP, there were other factors which prompted me, this is the time.
What made you choose BJP?
I cannot assign the reasons now. Maybe I will pen a book.
Okay, I just also very quickly want to ask you, as we speak about the BJP being from here and much more than that, you've also spoken Christians account for about 35%. For the BJP in other communities, does it become difficult for acceptance? Because you have also spoken about, no, I'm just asking because that's a narrative that the left and the Congress says, that the minorities will never vote for BJP.
That is their
Narrative, nothing else.
Waterloo. That is going to be their Waterloo. I will tell you. See, all those religious caste scapes have disappeared or are slowly getting dissolved in thin air. That is not going to work this time. People see me as Suresh Gopi, the person they know, the personality they know, and as the human they are very akin to. So it's a personal relationship. I don't see segmented humans. They are citizens of the country. I'm here to take a win from them and then be theirs and work for them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Not looking at the difference of this religion or that religion. They know me, Suresh Gopi, as a person. They've seen the work that the Prime Minister has done without any difference between any of the religions, and that's going to be the key plank here. Thank you so much for joining us. All the best for your campaign and a victory from this constituency. All right, so we were on the rooftop in Times Now's election yatra in the election bus. It started raining heavily, and that's the reason why we are in the live studios here. We had a contingency plan. The question is there going to be a change in the political climate or not? Do the parties have a contingency plan or not? That's the question. Mithun Vijay Kumar was making a point about how the situation on ground is very different from what the Congress party really believes. Tell us why you think that do you think Kerala is going to throw up a surprise for the BJP, and why?
I'm not pretty sure about the numbers or whether, if BJP is going to secure a significant number of seats from here. But one thing that I can see here is that, CPIM is not trusting their alliance partner, and the same is with Congress as well. Like both the spokespersons, they said, like the Vattakara example they had taken. In Vattakara, how can you say that you have announced that they are your alliance partner, and how can you say that they are supporting BJP in Vattakara? Which means you lack a certain element of trust, which means how is that alliance strong is the bigger question. So that might be a favoring factor for BJP is what I am believing in Kerala. And second thing, Mr. Raju P. Nair, he's a very strong spokesperson of Congress. One thing I would like to ask him is he's very cleverly evading a question that why is Rahul Gandhi not contesting from Amethi and why is he coming to Wayanad? He has evaded that question, So the reason is...
But the Prime Minister believes that he's going to be also evading the Wayanad battle. Very soon he'll have another safe seat. That's what he said.
Yeah, BJP may have their own metrics around that. But Wayanad has been a safe seat for Congress ever since the constituency was formed. So I believe that's the reason why Rahul is contesting from here. And anybody, be it you or me, contesting from a Congress ticket, we might even win from Wayanad. That's the position of Congress in this constituency. So given all these circumstances, it's not a difficult situation for Rahul Gandhi. But The real question is, what has he done for the voters of Wayanad who actually elected him to the parliament? So that question remains, and there are plenty of issues, including his attendance in the parliament, that needs to be, discussed. So, what is Congress, planning for the future for the Wayanad constituency? Because I see, as a person who is outside the political spectrum, I would, as a independent observer, I would say that, definitely Rahul Gandhi has higher chances of winning. But is he going to change the future of Wayanad? Is he going to implement policies that the people of Wayanad are looking forward to? Because in the last years, we have not seen that.
Yeah. And what does it mean for the Congress party as well? If he's contesting from Kerala, like in 2019, you had 19 seats for the UDF here. Is it going to be the same this time around as well? You said that the posters don't really matter. That's not the kind of politics that we do. But I also want to ask you, why is it that the Congress posters are also missing from Rahul Gandhi's rally? Why do some believe that Rahul Gandhi has not visited the constituency enough, even for campaigns?
Questions to me. Okay, so of course there is going to be a change in the results. There is no doubt about it. Last time we had been 119. This time we are winning 20. 20 out of 20. That is our target, and we will win it. There is no doubt about it. And the issue of Rahul Gandhi's performance in Wayanad, that is for the Wayanad's people to say. I am not here for the first time. I have been here for the last 5 years. Whenever Rahulji has visited this constituency, and I personally have attended so many functions of inaugurations and other schemes in these 5 years. He has built 100 houses. 100 houses for the people, bringing funds from other sources. He has now, built 30.
Okay, but I just want to very quickly say 20 seats for the Congress. If you say you're leaving 0 for the left, is that acceptable? How is the alliance going to play out? If the Congress party has 20 seats, that's what they're predicting for themselves, and 0 for you.
Who are there to give us seats? It's the people who will decide how many seats the left is going to win. I just want to make one point. The so-called neutral observer masqueraded as a neutral observer, but he was there with the BJP supporter earlier. But I'm not problem. He was saying that BJP has so much prospects in Kerala. Any neutral observer who is keen on politics
in fact, the BJP believes. I'm going to go by what the Prime Minister says.
One more point I want to make, because they were talking about the left. I want to tell that Mr. Raju was saying that the economic deprivation of the people has to be addressed. I want to ask him one question. What is Congress and BJP's difference between the economic policies?
What is the difference between the two parties? So the battle playing out on ground. We in fact spoke to the Union Minister Muralidharan as well while he was on the campaign trail. He went on to say that the BJP is going to spring a surprise. There are going to be double-digit seats from Kerala for the BJP. Take a look at what he had to say for the Congress and the left. We're on the campaign trail with Union Minister Muralidharan in the Attingal constituency. It's late in the night, but the campaign is going on in full swing. Thank you so much for sparing time for us. How is the campaign going? What are you expecting?
It's very good. Here there is a tri-cornered contest that's happening here. But the visit of the Prime Minister the other day to this constituency is giving us an upper hand, and I hope that when the results come, we will be able to clinch this seat.
Okay. So what is your go-to, when you're speaking to the voters, what is it you're saying? Because I heard you now speak about the Prime Minister as well. The Modi would guarantee something that the Prime Minister also spoke of when he was here.
See, the point that I was making is the NDA government under the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been trying to provide the basic amenities to every citizen of this country, be it housing, water, roads, toilets, jobs, whatever it is. So in that effort, the last 10 years was a marked difference compared to the previous 67 years. But still we accept that we have more miles to cover. So we are asking for another term, that's the Prime Minister's third term, and during which period the Prime Minister has announced a target of making India a developed India. So where all the basic amenities will be provided to every citizen. So for that, we would like to have the mandate of the people, the support of the people, and to make this constituency also a developed constituency. We should have a representative of National Democratic Alliance who will support the Prime Minister to be elected. So that's the request that I was making to the public.
So your pitch is also going to be the fact that you're somebody who is with the Prime Minister, who has worked with him closely in the cabinet. But, I want to ask you, this is one of the constituencies where the BJP has about 20% vote share in 2019, 25. Okay. So it's one of the 5 constituencies that the party has outlined as an important seat where the party can do well. Realistically, what is the number you would give for the BJP in Kerala?
See, the thing is now we have another 8-9 days for polling. So it is too early for me to announce or predict the number of seats that the BJP will win. But I am sure that we will have a considerable number of seats for BJP, and it will not be 1 or 2. It will be more than that.
We can hear a lot of firecrackers as well. I want to ask you, do you think that the Prime Minister finds acceptance here? Okay, a very, very grand welcome that was accorded to you. We can hear the chants as well on the road. Supporters, waiting to have a glance at you, waiting to welcome you. It's going really great. So late in the night, so many people. Do you see the Prime Minister having acceptance here? Because, the language barrier, Tamil Nadu, South especially, the BJP has been trying.
Kerala has no such language barrier because Kerala has a large number of people who are working outside Kerala, within India and outside India. So in Kerala, when Prime Minister speaks in Hindi, we hear people accepting that applause, giving the claps for that. So language is not a barrier, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been taking care of Kerala in a big way. Be it housing, be it water, be it roads. See, the national highway that is getting constructed, 680 kilometers with 45 meters width, 6-lane national highway, and 2 Vande Bharat trains. More than 1 lakh crore has been allocated. So people have high regards for the Prime Minister. There is a high level of following. One of the recent surveys showed that in Attingal, he has a following of almost 44%. So that's a very high percent. So even if I reach somewhere around that, definitely BJP will win this seat.
Okay, I want to ask you, today Rahul Gandhi in Wayanad has said that the Chief Minister doesn't ever criticize the BJP. He said that the BJP also shies away from criticizing the Chief Minister, hinting that there's a tacit understanding between the BJP and the CPM. What would you say to that?
Rahul Gandhi perhaps is not aware of what is happening around. Because when the Prime Minister came here, the Prime Minister's one of the severe comments that he made during his speech was against the Chief Minister and his daughter's corruption. Why Rahul Gandhi is not speaking against corruption? He says that he is against corruption, but he is silent on the corruption of the Chief Minister and his daughter. So, and then if the India Alliance, of which both of them are partners, why they are fighting in Kerala amongst them? They should put up a joint front against BJP. We would welcome that. So that means they are doing a shadow boxing here to fool the people. So they should stop that. And Rahul Gandhi should announce first how they view the corruption, the violence in the left-front government.
All right. I want to ask you, we were also in Thiruvananthapuram where we saw Shashi Tharoor's posters. In Rajiv Chandrasekhar's posters, there were Modi posters. Here is the same with you. We are seeing Modi's posters. We are not seeing Rahul Gandhi posters here, though he is an MP from Kerala. Why do you think that is? And in Rahul Gandhi's own rallies, they are not using the Congress flags. Why do you think that is?
I think they are perhaps embarrassed at their legacy, the legacy of corruption, the legacy of nepotism. So they don't have anything to say about the achievements of Congress while they were in power. So they want to create an atmosphere of some make-believe stories and then criticize the Prime Minister. So they have nothing related to the real facts. That is why they are shying away. See, I don't see any poster of Rahul Gandhi here. No Congress leader has put up his picture along with Rahul Gandhi's pictures. And Rahul Gandhi himself, during his entire campaign in Wayanad, they kept away, they decided not to use the Congress flag. That means they know that people are against the Congress, because Congress is now synonymous with corruption, with nepotism. So that could be the reason. That I don't understand, I don't know. Otherwise they should explain what was the reason and what is the basis of not using Congress flag.
Okay, I just, not to delay you, just two questions. One is, because Kerala was on the brink of bankruptcy, it also went to the Supreme Court. The Chief Minister has been saying that it is the centre's policies that are to blame. In fact, several southern states have said that because there is a bigger revenue from here, southern states are made to pay more.
See, Kerala government went to the court, Supreme Court, saying that the centre should provide us more money. But before they went to the court, what they were telling the people was that we have 54,000 crores worth, 54,000 crores that is due from the centre. But when they went to the court, they didn't say any such thing. And ultimately the court threw out their plea and told the government of India to provide a bailout package. Bailout package means there is no substance in the plea that they made. So these allegations are all political allegations. It has nothing to do with substance, nothing to do with real facts.
Okay. The Chief Minister says that the BJP can campaign as much as they want, but communal forces don't have a place in Kerala.
See, communism itself is a philosophy that has been rejected across the world. And now, if Chief Minister feels that it is communism that will save Kerala, I would say that he should look around the world and find out what is happening around the world.
Okay. So, lastly, to the people of Attingal who are watching, what is it that you're going to promise them when you come to power, if you become the MP from the constituency? What are you going to promise them?
See, the Attingal constituency during the last 70 years has not seen development, there is a lot of potential, but that has not been realized, that has not been utilized. There are issues in the coastal front, there are issues in the hilly terrains, the tribal areas, the scheduled caste areas, the farmers are facing problems, the traditional industries are having problems. So I am bringing out a very detailed plan for action, a development agenda for the entire constituency which covers every aspect. So I don't want to spell out one or 2 points. So, and that has evolved through discussions among the people. It is not something that I have created. People have suggested what they want. So I will be with the people. I will be trying to fulfill the aspirations, the needs, the demands of the people.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Muralidharan saying that for the voters here, if you vote for any other party, they may probably be in the opposition. If you're going to vote for me, I'm going to be in the Prime Minister's cabinet. I speak to the Prime Minister. Okay, be in the government, part of the government at least.
I will be a ruling party MP.
Okay, your ruling party MP, somebody who knows the Prime Minister well, and that is going to work for the people, of course. Thank you so much for speaking to us. In Thrissur, as we crisscross across Kerala, getting you the ground reports, speaking to the voters, speaking to the candidates, finding out how it's all going to play out. We also visited the world-famed Thrissur Puram festival. Take a look at what I'm talking about. battle that's playing out in Thrissur for the Lok Sabha elections. While we are in the Thrissur city, the famed Thrissur Puram festival is ongoing. Today is the 7th day of the festival. This is a festival that's very special to Kerala. There are thousands of people who witness the Thrissur Puram. It's an iconic festival in the central Kerala city, which is held in full grandeur. And the annual spectacle is generally seen as the mother of all temple festivals. This is a festival that people from all walks of life arrive, all religions, irrespective of age, arrive here for the big festival. There are over 30 elephants that are brought in here face to face to be a part of the centuries old customs. The elephants are paraded at the temple, and it was a very, very special moment this time around as well. On the 7th day though, there was a bit of a delay as thousands of people arrived from all across the entire Thrissur, not just the constituency, but from across Kerala. Remember, this is one of the biggest festivals, not just in Kerala, but across the world as well. What was the delay about? We're going to find out a little more about the ceremony itself. Let's tell you what it is, what is the significance of it, and a lot more, and then we'll come to what happened next. Thank you for joining us. Your name, and tell us a little more bit about this temple festival, why it's so special to the people of Kerala and the world.
It happens once in a year. And I've been in Thrissur from my childhood days. So it's about people coming together. And it starts with all the small temples, Cherupurams, coming together. And it's mainly about the two main temples, Thiruvambadi and Parmekkavu. So Parmekkavu and Thiruvambadi have their own set of Purams. And there is Madathil Varavu, the Puram in front of Parmekkavu temple. And today, of course, today is a day for the people of Thrissur. Today's the Puram is meant for the people of Thrissur. Yesterday it was meant for the whole world. Okay. And many people come here to watch Puram, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's such a grand spectacle that people across the world come in for that. What is the significance of it? It's said to have started 2 centuries ago. Would you know a little bit more about what it means for the people of Thrissur? What is the story behind it?
See, it was started by Shaktan Taburan. It's between 2 temples, that is Thiruvambadi and Parmekkavu. So there are other Purams also, like Arattapuzha and other Purams. So it is connected to that, but now it has become a much more bigger festival for the people of Thrissur. So we have the Puram during the day with the elephants and the drums, Panjavadya, and the Vedikatta at night. Of course, the Vedikatta is delayed today, so everybody has been waiting throughout the night for that.
Some of the devotees also disappointed about the delay. They don't know why it has happened, saying there were some officials who were organizing it. There was an argument with the police officials, not happy with the way that they handled the crowd here, which is why it broke out. The devotees have been waiting here very, very eagerly. This is the last day, a very, very special day in Thrissur. Let's see how this plays out.